Today we're going to be talking about everything that we wish we knew before we became independent agents. Welcome back to Building Ain't Easy. My name's Dakota.
I'm Lori.
So let's kind of dive into it, right? Because I think I kind of have a crazy outline. Today's going to be for all of the captive agents out there. If you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars in life insurance, or you 65, or even Medicare, but you're really starting to get sketched out at the agency that you're a part of, or you just don't know what you don't know. What else is out there? What are the numbers? What are the things? I mean, we went on a whole journey to find out all of this information. And so we're gonna dive into it today. So let's start off with this, okay? If you could talk to Lori 5 years ago, before we dive into all these different topics, what would you say, what would you give like the quick minute to 5 minute version of like being an independent agent, owning what you own versus captive, and to the people out there that might be independent, but they're kind of in a sketch organization?
I was in like the top 10% of producers that for the company that I worked with. And so life was good, but I really didn't ever dig into the numbers, and they're purposely kind of vague about all of the numbers, right? Like I remember having like a kind of a heated debate with my leader, my upline, about what an override actually looked like and what the percentage was. And she was just like really hostile and told me I was wrong. And then when I went to go source it and like look at the contract, I was right. And it was like a fraction, like it had been cut down to like barely any override whatsoever. So there just wasn't as much wiggle room for like all of these things that you're expected to kind of pay for a team. And I don't know, just the things that I didn't know. And I was personally quite afraid of leaving. Plus I was really comfortable, but they had done these things to kind of golden handcuff you there, right? Like you had these bonuses. First they had this bonus that was quarterly that wasn't really a bonus, right? It was part of your commission, got held off and paid to you as a big lump sum once a quarter, and they called it a bonus, right. But it really wasn't a bonus. It was part of your earned commission, right?
No, that's really good. So let's dive into that. So if you're part of an agency where like you're selling something in the plan and they're just paying it out differently, like quarterly or yearly, most do quarterly who do this, that's not a bonus. That's a commission. That's part of something that you sold, but they're just framing it as a bonus.
Yeah, so I guess they hold on to your money and then you get a bigger check, and you don't get that if you're not there. So and mine ended up being, 6 figures. Like it was a lot of money. So like to walk away from that, it never felt like it was going to be the right time, because you're always, when you're doing something quarterly, you're always just right at the next bonus. Like 3 months go by in a blink, right? So never really felt like the right time to leave. Also, I didn't have this issue, but I saw it take out a lot of agents, because it's really hard to stay at like a high production level for a really long period of time. And usually with a lot of these agencies, you come out of the gate and you're getting like a big advance or a large amount of money like right out of the gate when you sell a policy, but it will taper off as time goes on. So once your advance time is gone, then you're getting a very low renewal rate on it. And so I think it went down to like 2% or something the second year. Like it was a pretty low number, which means they've essentially designed a structure where you really can never take your foot off the gas, because if ever you stop producing and just your residuals are coming in, your check could get cut to a third of what it was overnight, or a fourth of what it was. Like it will be a significantly smaller number if you aren't bringing in new people all the time, which is
or recruiting.
Really, or building and recruiting, which is really kind of tricky. So like the ability to be there and retire and that be your last career and do it as a sales agent forever really is very challenging.
Very challenging.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I didn't know any of this when I was there, because again, I always did enough work to have a full enough pipeline that if someone was turning over to a year from 1 year to the next, they were still in the books, but I was always bringing in new people, so I never really felt it. But once I got out and started like really kind of pulling back the curtain and looking at what was happening, like I just can't believe all that I didn't know.
Yeah, so I would tell myself a lot of stuff, but one, I would, when if you're at a captive agency, and even if you're not at like a quote unquote captive agency, what happens mainly in insurance is a lot of these agencies are like MLM, right? Kind of vibes. Like it's mostly recruiting, not selling. And even if you're not like, if you're on a quote unquote part of an independent brokerage, when you join that brokerage and let's say you make money, like you make 100K or 200K, most people don't leave that because that's like the first time like they've made over 6 figures in income or 7 figures, like it's like an agency kind of has to screw you or you have to see like a way, way, way better opportunity to jump. What I find is that, and just this is me talking now, but like if I was talking to myself back 5 years ago, is that if someone's winning, they typically don't leave. Like they stay there. And the people that leave are the ones who crash out and they're jumping from agency to agency, just trying to like find something that's easier. And sometimes it's not, there are better opportunities, but sometimes it's like, it's you, like you gotta like fix you to get better. Like an agency's not gonna solve all your problems. And so I would tell myself that there's so much opportunity because in an independent brokerage or captive, in the MLM styles, they may both, even though it's independent, they both make it feel like there's no other option. They make it feel like every other agency is terrible and there's no other good option. And if you leave us, it's kind of like a cult mentality. You will fail wherever you go. And so what I find is what I tell myself is that people stay in these environments because they're kind of brainwashed. But let me just be real. If you're watching this and you're like a high successful person, like good for you. Like it's not easy. Like it takes hard work to get there. So you're doing great. Is go to a conference. Like go to, I don't know, ICMG or Medicarians or go on the life insurance side. I've been to 8%, but go to a neutral conference and you'll just be like really, really shocked on how big the industry is. Like there's so many people winning. There's so many agencies winning, and there's so many people buying insurance, which is kind of insane. Like how many people buy insurance? Like it's not like your one little agency or big agency changes. It just changes the market in some degree, but it's not like it's them or nothing. So I would tell myself that. And then the other thing I would tell myself is that from a product side, these agencies make it feel like there's no other good products out there. This happens in health, in Medicare and life, or it's like we only sell this set because everything else sucks. And so you really have to go on a kind of a journey to learn what's actually, this is mainly in health, what's actually out there, and like is there good options? And there are, you just have to go search them out.
What's crazy is like now we've done this for so long and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like I would want to be able to help every single person. I can't believe how many clients I talked to today that I help that I wouldn't have been able to help when I was with that captive agency. I mean, I know I turned away a lot of business because I did have a pretty strong pipeline, but I think like the magnitude, like most of the people that I talk to on a consistent basis, I would say of all the people I talk to in a week, probably only 25% of them would fit in that mold.
Yeah.
So like I would have turned away 75% of the people that I talked to, and that didn't feel great because at some point it's not so much that you're concerned about the income. It's like you really, if you have a good heart, you really do want to help people. And yeah. I really do want to leave people better than I found them. And I have that ability now. I did not have that ability. I mean, I did to a certain extent. I was doing good by the people that I encountered there, but I had to turn so many people away, and then you can't control like where they go or what they do or if it's going to be right or if the agent you recommend them to or you refer them to, if they're going to do the right thing. So like it was a lot of product knowledge. Like it was intense, the amount of like what I had to learn to like be able to represent all these products. But now fast forward, like I make as much money or more as I did when I was there. And I have more control over my life and my book. And it, at some point, you know, it did feel like a little bit culty and like whatever, or like I maybe wasn't cut from the same cloth. So it's been a really good transition, but it's crazy when you're in it and you're drinking the Kool-Aid and the money's good. I mean, those are the golden handcuffs that they can keep you there by, especially for their top producers, because, you know, it never seemed like it was going to be a good time to leave, even though some part of me felt like I should. It just never felt like it was going to be right.
No, I agree. Okay, so let's go through some common things that top producers think they're giving up by like leaving their current agency or opportunity. One is I'll lose my leads. So the leads belong to the agency. When they leave, essentially they can't take their leads with them. That they'll lose their one support system to provide for their income. Thoughts on leads?
So there's no shortage of leads. You just have to find the agency that's going to help you in the cost. Most of the time, honestly, most of these agencies aren't spending money on leads. Like, you're expected to spend them. And if all they're doing is introducing you to a lead source, or they're selling you their own leads, then they're probably double dipping, and it's probably not with your interest in heart, right? Like, they're generating a lead, they're charging you for the lead, and then their overall company is reimbursing them somehow for their marketing company that generated the lead. So they're fully double dipping.
Yeah, I would say most don't provide leads. Like, so this is kind of like a fake. This is kind of like a fake fear, and a lot of it's not so that they have an opportunity to buy leads, but they're afraid that they won't have a good lead source if they go somewhere else. And again, what I would recommend is that you go to a conference or look up online, like, there are hundreds and thousands of agencies that are winning, right? So, like, if they don't have any marketing strategies, then they wouldn't be winning, you know? And so you just got to find the place that aligns with you and vet out their marketing, right? Like, for us, we spend $100,000 a month on leads right now, right? Between our marketing team, our tech team, behind the scenes team, ad spend. And it has taken us like 5 years to build, but it allows us to provide high intent lead flow for our sales team, right? Mm-hmm. Coming in. I mean, you lead the appointment booking team. How many appointments do you guys book a day?
On average, we put somewhere between 30 and 40 appointments on agents' calendars daily.
That's pretty crazy, right? Like, I don't know of another agent, and that only will be forever. So it depends on recording this pod, where like one of the founders is setting up appointments on their team's calendar. That's pretty wild. But a lot of, like, to buy lead vendors don't sell pre-booked appointments, right? Like, you have to buy a lead stack and then get AI or work it yourself. And that is about a $2,000 to $10,000 setup per month, you know, to buy the lead flow, to find the right vendor, to try out different stuff, or to do your own self-source, and then to set up the text, to have AI text back and prompt the bot right. And it doesn't always work on AI, right? Like, we're on that journey. And so a lot of times you have to have a manual, someone offshore or someone onshore, but it's more expensive to set up appointments. Like,
I'm free.
But Lore's free.
I'm free.
Part of the agency. So, no, that's funny. Leads. What about this? I'll lose my book, right? So, like, they're afraid that they will lose their book of business. Like, it'll be taken from them, or the renewals will go down. What's your thoughts on this losing the book thing?
So most agencies, in my experience at least, they have some amount of time where you're not allowed to solicit your book. Again, if you're a top producer, you probably have enough of a pipeline that you can let those people sit still. Like, when I left, I never reached out to my book to try to get them to come. A lot of them ended up coming with me through attrition. Like, they would because like, if you leave your agency and no one's working or servicing your book, eventually those people are going to have issues and they're going to need you, and you're not there, and they're going to figure out that you're not there, right? So eventually, if you did a good job and they loved you as their agent, they're going to come join you. Yeah. Again, if you're a top producer and that's who this is geared toward, you probably have enough of a pipeline that doesn't need to be an immediate concern today. And I never wanted to put myself in like harm's way for litigation, because they can be, a lot of these agencies can be pretty litigious and like want to take you to court or like sue you if you try to take your book. So I never really went that route. I just like let it. And I think I had like a 3-year non-compete. Like, I couldn't touch my book for 3 years. But like, after that 3 years was up, I still didn't reach out to them. I just would help people as they reached out to me, and like, they would happen through attrition. But if you have a full enough pipeline and you're doing what you're supposed to do, like, you'll build your book up again.
Yeah. Well, here's kind of the hidden part that, like, here's the sauce here, is that one, if you are, which most agents are, taking advances, Laura's absolutely right. Like, even the independent brokerages, they have things in their contracts that like prohibit you from soliciting your book, because it creates roll-up debt for their uplines, right? So when you leave, if you flip your book, like let's say a client's month 1, they're month 9, and you're on a 9-month advance, or a 12-month, or a 3-month, or 6 months, whatever you're on. There's only a couple of carriers that do 12 months. But if you're on a big advance and that person leaves, that creates a chargeback in debt that rolls up to your upline, and so, or to your past upline, and so that's super scary. So they don't like that. And then, but also for you, if you do have renewals and you flip people, you're just causing yourself chargebacks from there. And so, but what the secret is that a lot of agencies that, or even carriers that control your commissions, this is kind of the sad part, is they can cut your commissions at any time. Like if they see, like they'll have, and we can definitely talk about this offline, but if carriers see where is something they don't like what you're doing, like your marketing strategy or content or stuff like that, they can literally just terminate you for clause. Like there are huge agencies that we know that, this is on the health game, that produce $12-20 million plus a year in production, which is not nothing. And they had a couple agents that the carrier didn't like, and they just cut all their commissions. And so honestly, you're not really safe until, and probably a solo agent would never go down this road, but until you build your own product, which is something that we're thinking about doing, just because we do a lot of production, but the carriers kind of control you at some level. Now, most of them are cool. So they're not like, it's not weird across the board, but they do control the money, you know? And so as it becomes, this is for like agency owners, as it becomes millions of dollars in commissions, it really adds up, or tens of millions, like it becomes a really big number. And so
they might be cool today.
Exactly.
They could have a leadership change tomorrow and everything be different. So it just is, it's being beholden to someone is really challenging. And so, yeah.
But you can't really build just to give you the numbers, like if you want to go build a product, it's like $2 to $10 million. Like you have to build a TPA and like partner who's your captive, reinsure, like it's a whole thing. So it's not like for
the faint of heart.
A faint of heart or a solo agent. But the book of business thing, like that's going to happen anywhere, even if you're independent. But it's really about taking the renewals you have and then just keep selling your way through it. Like what's worse? Like if you're at $100,000 difference in comp, or 500, or the culture you hate, you don't want to be part of like an MLM system. Would you rather go be part of a group that you like better and that you relate with and you can make more money, but it might take you a year to ramp up? Or would you rather be part of that system that you don't like forever, right? Like what's the trade-off? What's the worst thing there? So what the best producers like actually build. So the real asset is, this is like losing your book, but the real asset is an as earned book value after advances, right? So like what would you tell yourself? You kind of told this on like the 5-minute thing, but this is really for the captive agents out there, or the life insurance agencies where they take all of your renewals. Because just hot take here, I won't give you the number because you're not allowed to say it online, but life insurance carriers, most of them do pay renewals, but they only give it to the upline. And then the street level agents, they don't get renewals. I won't say the exact percentages, ranges per carrier, but it's typically a couple percent, but those all go towards the upline. So what would you say to yourself 5 years ago with like this real book earned as value? Like as you keep selling, like you keep making more money and it compounds. And if you get a higher contract, how much that compounds? Like what would you say?
I think that I understand it a little bit more now than, like, I'm just always put your head down, do the work. I don't really get caught up too much. And I just know if I go do what I do and I put in the work that I put in, it's all going to work out. So I never really spent a lot of time being concerned about that. But now I'm pretty astounded at like how much I probably left like on the table that I didn't even know about because of all of these weird rules that are built into insurance. And I definitely, when I was in it, I did not realize the residual thing and how much the percentage changed from your first year comp to your second year comp, and how like, I never felt, I saw that take agents out though, where like an agent, like this is such a rookie mistake, but it happens all the time where you're doing really well, you're producing really well, and you do that for a while and then you kind of burn out a little bit. Yeah. And then you feel like your check is good and you take your foot off the gas, and then the year turns and all of a sudden your check gets cut, and like it would full on take the best agents out because they didn't keep going.
It's a super shocker situation.
Yeah, and they did.
It's something what we're building in our tech is, and it's not done yet, but it's to build like a dashboard where as carriers send us statements or we process sales, it uploads in our agents like view where it's like, oh, you have this much coming on your next check, and here's your advance versus your chargebacks versus your as earned. So that way an agent can like proper tell, and then also tell, hey, in year 2 it might drop, you know? So like here's the amount of work you need to do. So that way they're ready, because yeah, it's one of the biggest problems is that what we see in health insurance is you're about a week to 3 weeks, sometimes 6 weeks, depending on the carrier, but on most in under 65 private, like 1 to 3 weeks. Though like the work you do today, you don't see it change your check this cycle. It's like 1 to 3 weeks down the road, because with the way they send statements, the chargebacks hit, just how it compounds from there. And so yeah, it really takes agents out for sure. It's like really, really.
So I don't think I knew enough then. I didn't know what I didn't know, but now that I do, it's pretty astounding.
Yeah, for sure. And that's like something that took me probably about 3 years to learn is I started because I started lining up all the direct contracts. I started to see what the real freaking number was. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it is typically like, just a pro tip, like the top one of the hierarchy to like street level, it's typically like 30% that they're taking. Now that translates different in life insurance versus like health and stuff like that, but it's typically 30-ish% of the total commission is going to an upline. And that's typically why there's like 2, 4, 6, 5 different like splits between you and the top line, because they're splitting that. And then the also kind of sketchy part is there's big agencies, which I won't name drop them, who will do like equity bonuses. So like this is like life insurance. I'll say some numbers. Like they'll like the top comp in life, depending on the carrier, is typically like 150 to 170, somewhere in that range, depending on carrier contract, which is a really big number, right? That sounds big, but if you're a top agent, then you're probably over 100%. But that means they're making like 50 to 70% of the on life of the sale, depending on where you're at on that split. And so if you're writing $100,000 a year, that's 50 grand, you know, that's 70 grand. That just goes like that you're not getting. And that's what's so infuriating is if you do all the work, it's like, what the actual frick, you know, in health, it could sometimes be 20%. You know, you might have an indemnity at 20 points if you're in a captive agency and 40 points if you're independent. Like it could be, sorry, it's not, it's 20% more, or it's 20 points more, which is double. It's double the commission. And so it is a really big number, but like, this is the hard part. Like insurance commissions are so confusing that you really don't see it start to affect you until you actually get paid. You're like, oh my gosh. The difference between that percentage is crazy.
Not only that, but like an override is really in place because your upline is supposed to be supporting you and helping you in this industry. And I don't know, like I did the math when I was with my previous organization of what kind of override my direct upline was making, and it was like a stupid amount of money because I wrote a lot of business. And I don't know that I felt like the trade-off was there. Like I didn't get leads from them. Like I didn't work. They would have like some age data leads that came in to like a software program, and you could like, but that wasn't how I did business. So like I never really used their leads per se. They would give me some reimbursement for purchasing leads, but most of the time I was purchasing leads just because it was available to me and taking their reimbursement, and I was giving those leads to my team because I wasn't really working leads. So like, you know, yeah, there was some support there, I guess, but like I didn't really feel like, I mean, most of the time I felt like it was kind of a volatile, toxic sort of environment. So it was actually more taxing than it was like helpful. And so do I think that the trade-off of the support that I got was worth the override that they were making? Probably not. I mean, like...
And that's a really good tip, right? Like, and you won't know your upline's comp until you like go do some research and go to conferences and talk to people. But like, I want everybody to do this math if you're watching this video, okay? Like, take what you think that they're making on an override and take that times your production. And sometimes it's typically, well, it depends on ranges, but let's say it's 5 to 20K a month, which a lot of times it's higher, depending on how much you're selling. Let's say it's 10,000. Would you write your upline, like let's say your upline was a coach that you hired from online, right? Or whatever, like from a business coach. Would you write them a $10,000 monthly check and like feel good about that trade? Because that's literally what you're doing with commissions. It's what the carrier's paying out anyways, but they're like, oh, they're part of this hierarchy, so this person gets paid the 10,000 of this person's sales. Like that's what you're doing with overrides, right?
Yeah. And
people don't think about it like that. Like, would you write a check to someone to pay for coaching, or resources that you're getting? Is it worth more than the 10,000 or whatever the override
or just like
is?
Again, in a lot of these agencies, and there are great agencies and there are terrible agencies out there, but like, is the environment one that's inspiring me and supporting me, or is it one that's draining me and it's toxic? And so even that, like, just to pay money to be in, and we were very beholden, like the lines that they like, kind of skirted with like how much they would require 1099 people to do. Like, you have to be in the office at this time, and you have to be at the office for this meeting, and you have to, like, it was kind of a little, and yeah. you like had to do it, or there would be other like psychological games played with you. So it's like you're paying this tax to also kind of be an indentured servant, to kind of be in this toxic workspace. So it was just such a weird.
And I think that's a totally fair trade when you're like a new agent, right? Like if they're giving you leads and support and tech, like it costs a lot of money to support a new agent. So this isn't, unless you're like amazing new agent, you don't need anything. But like if you're like a top producer and you're running your own business and you have all your own leads, own tech, own office, like what are we doing here? Like like when I look at the numbers, I'm like, oh, especially if you run an agency, and it's like, oh, we're writing them a $30,000 check every month and we're literally getting nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's stupid. And so I see a lot of videos and they're directed to new agents and they're like, comp's not everything. And I agree. But for an agency, comp is kind of everything. Like, yeah. You need the money to support and build, and if it's just being wasted. And the other part this is more in the MLM agencies is like these leaders haven't sold in like 10 years, so they're trying to build an organization. They don't even know what to do, or they haven't done it, and so it's like, what are we doing here? There's actually an agent, I won't name drop him. He built if you've been in life insurance, you probably know this story. But he built a $200 million organization. He didn't. I mean, it was a bunch of downlines that recruited, I think, like 6,000 agents. He sold to Integrity and made a bunch of money. But on these Integrity deals, something I learned, Integrity, right? Like they're in Dallas. That's like their model. So they give you a big check. Like they buy your business. I think it's like don't quote me, 4x to like 6, 7x multiple, whatever, depending on your revenue. And then you don't get paid anymore. Like they buy it, and then you're waiting for like this IPO event where they sell it. So anyways, he was telling the story about, he was like, hey, real talk, I sold my agency like 5-6 years ago, but I haven't made any money. And so he restarted an agency.
He hasn't made any money. He didn't get his payout from the...
He got his payout, but it had been like 6 years on the payout. So, and there might be other pay structures, but like he wasn't, like apparently all that goes to that. I don't know the exact deal. He wasn't making as much money because whatever. So we started another agency, started selling again. I was like, that's pretty inspiring, like that's being a leader, and like that's leading from the front. But a lot of these guys, like they haven't done it in 5-10 years, or girls. And it's like, dude, what are we doing here? Like how are you supposed to lead someone when you haven't done it? It's pretty crazy. Okay, this is kind of interesting. This is more in the captive game, but like the real on chargebacks and reserve accounts. Chargebacks and reserve accounts. So there's some models where like when they're advancing you, they'll take a percentage and they'll put it in a reserve account to fight against chargebacks, which is honestly a good thing for a new agent. But there's some agencies that they won't, when you leave, they don't give you the reserve money back.
Correct. Yeah, I think that I had in a previous agency in a reserve account when I left, like $30,000+ that I was just never going to see. So at some point because I had flipped and I had started taking everything as earned because I didn't need advances. Like it was better for me to just take the money as it came instead of getting a big check. That was,
yeah.
So I was now getting as earned. Well, if you're taking as earned, then you're not ever depleting that reserve account, because the reserve account only will be depleted by chargebacks. Well, there wouldn't be any chargebacks because you're getting your money as earned. So like it would be times where I would have to like turn on my advances just so if something was going to charge back, I could deplete that account. So like that's a really tricky game to play too. I was super grateful that it was there to save me from chargebacks in the beginning. I mean, I think it is a really good thing, but they're also charging you some interest typically on that advance. Like you're paying something.
Sometimes it's like a 1% to 10% on different agencies or carrier setups. Like it's not nothing.
Right. So they're taking some of your money to give you some money up front. Like, you know, I mean, and it's not just one company. Like a lot of them do this way.
Well, and it makes sense. Like to be fair, an advance is a loan. They're loaning us or the person money. And so like they're taking risk by advancing. It's fair they take some interest because they're advancing millions of dollars if they're a carrier, you know, to front agent commissions and agency commissions. You know? Okay, so one thing I wanted to say on the reserve is like if you're vetting out an agency is if they do take your reserve, see if you get it back, because a lot of them, and this is what's kind of sketch, is they take it. So like I know mine was like 30 or 40 grand, you know? And so like that's a sizable amount. And now a lot don't do reserve, so that kind of comes up, but a lot of agents they value the reserve, but they don't realize the cons with it, right? That you know.
Well, and they don't realize it because unless you ask the right questions,
no one's gonna tell you.
No one is up front giving you this information. So it's just like, we built this reserve to protect you. It's going to put away X amount of dollars and all your chargebacks will come from there. So even if you had chargebacks, you'll still get the same paycheck that you earned. So they really do a good job of kind of dressing up the good side of it. But, and again, I don't think it's a terrible thing. I just think, give all the information so someone can make an informed decision. Give all the information.
And this is like another red flag if you're at an agency right now. If you're happy, great. But like if you ask leadership something or you hear stories about them like withholding information or you see stuff online, that's a red flag. Like if there's other agents, tens or hundreds going through this, know that you might be in something that might not be like the best fit for you.
Or just ask questions. I mean, I think I didn't ask a lot of questions, but again, they kind of probably counted on that. Like I was doing well, and I'm not, this is not any shade against them, because like I'm grateful they brought me in and taught me an industry that I didn't know anything about. So for a lot of reasons, I'm grateful to that experience. But at the same time, they probably counted on the fact, like, you know, happy agents that are making money don't really question much. They're not like, you know, they're not like,
what do you think? This is like an interesting question. What do you think turns a happy, because agents that make money typically don't leave. What makes agents leave if they're making money the most out of that agency? Is it the culture? It can be like the leadership?
A million different things. I think people are motivated by different things. Some people need praise. Some people want public recognition. Some don't. Some want to be like on their own on an island and want complete autonomy. So, I mean, I think it could be any host of things. But I think that, I think people might leave for any number of reasons. But I think that you have a better shot of keeping people when they're making money. Like money does kind of Band-Aid fix everything. You'll put up with a lot if there's money.
The more money, and definitely Band-Aids for sure. Okay, let's talk about recruiting, because this is like a really hot topic, right? With when you start to build an agency under an upline, right? Now, a lot of times if like you're a solo producer and like you low-key flip your book, sometimes they'll come after you, but like not as heavy. But if you start flipping agents, uplines and IMOs, they totally spiral out.
Which don't you get? It is so hard to find so I say this in my recruiting pitches every week. I say, if I took 10 people and lined them up right now and said, do you want the opportunity that comes with this opportunity. So like the chance to make 6 figures in your first year and to write your own schedule and to work from home, all of the things. Every one of those 10 people would say yes. Less than one of them actually would have what it takes to pull it off. And so I get being freaked out about people stealing your agents because it is so much. I mean, look at even right now, like we have, this is such a good problem to have, but we have so many leads. We need agents because we need people answering the phones so that we can sell these clients that need our help, right? Well, like just the thought of any of our agents leaving and doing something else and having one less person to answer those calls is like,
or take appointments, or
could make me, I could cry, like, because you spend so much time. And like a lot of these people, even if they're already licensed and they've done it somewhere else, they have never done it our way. I do think our way is pretty different. I don't think like most agencies have a complete reach across all 50 states and have like hundreds of plan options that you can shop. Like it's usually too much for someone to digest, so they don't do it this way.
Yeah.
But like what goes into like bringing up a new agent is so tremendous that I get why they would freak out if you start to steal their agents, because clients are one thing, but agents
are most uplines money. Like that's how they make money. And so they will freak out. And so what I feel bad though is someone that gets kind of like my saddest thing in the agent game is watching an agency who is like really good people, but they get kind of brainwashed. They're part of a captive or independent, and they really build a big agency, but then they're like, the culture's weird, or the lead, like, because a lot of agencies also make money or uplines by selling you leads. Like that's how they make money, and selling marketing and all the other stuff. And so they're like, man, I feel really weird with this, but now they have 100, 200, 500 people who are on their team, and now they're stuck because if they leave, the agency takes all of their team, or if they try to recruit them out of that, now they start getting sued. Like there's so many lawsuits over this.
And I think you have to be careful too that once you leave, it really in most of these, and I saw this and I thought it was so weird because I have so many people from so many different like careers in my lifetime that I'm still friends with, because to me, like, the person is bigger than the situation you're sharing. But that's not the case in a lot of these agencies. Like when you leave, you are now the enemy. Like you are dead to them. Yeah,
that's what gets weird. Like they kind of go cult status and blackmail you, and not blackmail you, sorry. Blacklist you, that's a better word. But the other weird thing is like a lot of good agencies, or I shouldn't say good, but a lot of big uplines, they have really vibrant offices because that's how they build. Like it's really hard, like it's really challenging to build a team virtually, which we're down that path. But a lot of them do it in office, and so your whole community is these people, like it's so like when you leave it, it's almost like leaving a church or something, like it's not just a job, it's like it's kind of become your life.
For sure. And you have to be careful because when you leave, you're automatic the enemy. Like it's a turn on a dime. And now they will be scrutinizing everything you do on the outside, because anything that they can, and remember, contracts are written to be purposely kind of vague or protect the contract writer or like the
sure.
agency. And so now they're looking at what you're doing through a microscope, like while you're on the outside, because they're looking for the smallest thing that could be an infraction of your contract so they can shut off giving you any more money. Because if they can cut your contract or do it for cause, then they get to keep whatever money was owed to you because you were vested or whatever the case is. So it gets really, really dicey.
What would you say to if like there's someone who's watching this clip and they have a huge team, like 500, 1,000 agents, 2,000, 3,000 agents, like they're doing really good, but they're like, man, I'm really sick of the culture here. I don't like what I'm a part of. It feels weird. I want to go do something else. And they're going to lose their team. What would you tell that person? Would you tell them to stay? Would you tell them to jump? What would you
I don't know. That's a really tough one. But who's like makes me think of like the Grant Cardone, right? Like Grant will run this whole campaign about like, if I had nothing. I had $500 and I had to go start $1 million company again. And he goes and does
He
this.
literally did it. Did you see the show?
He does this. And I guess I say that to say, like, if you've done it before with a team of 2,000 agents and you built a culture, like, that's not the agency you work for. That's the culture you bring. And so you can do that again, but do it on your own terms. If you're that good at it, do it on your own terms, because being beholden to anyone in this industry, it's so unstable. Like, it's just not, you can't count on it. And you obviously have a talent for this, and go do it on your own terms. That's
a really good take. Like, what's your life worth? Like, you might be making millions of dollars or high six figures, 700-800K or millions of dollars plus. But what's your time worth? Like, is it worth the pain of the culture that you're in?
And I think back, it's like, from my situation, like, of all the toxicity and craziness that went on in that organization that I worked for, and I fully believe all of the stress that I was under for so long is what led to my breast cancer diagnosis.
That's real.
Because, like, and I would not go back and trade I wouldn't trade it for anything, because there were so many good things. And like I said, I'm so grateful that they brought me into an industry and taught me something I didn't know. And I learned a lot because they let me, be a part of certain circles and kind of learn really fast this industry, like, from that vantage point. So there are so many things that I wouldn't change, but I wish that I would have, like, listened to my gut more when I felt like it wasn't right. I probably should have, like, called it for myself and gone and done something different, because I probably could have saved myself, like, that diagnosis.
That's super deep. No, I'm just thinking about, I follow a lot of people in this space, and there's been a lot of people in this last year who lost their teams. Like, they're part of capital organizations and they kind of shut them down. And within a year, I think both of them this is life insurance, have gotten up to like $1 million a month in a year and a half in production, which is really good. And, like, this is final expense insurance. And so, like, if you have the skill set, you can do it faster than you did it the first go around, because now you have the skill set, the patterns, what marketing to run, how to hire people, like, the tech, like, the different things. And so don't be afraid. Like, jump in and
it's easier said than done. But I just think if you have that talent, you are going to have that talent wherever you go. And I do believe that the good guys win. I do think that people that are good at this and have the right heart, it does work out. So, like, don't be beholden to anyone, because you could give yourself cancer. Like, I mean,
wow,
like,
that's
really
so deep. So what would you say if someone's watching this? What would you say if they're looking for a home in the U65 space? What would you say to them?
I would say, do your research. I would say, have conversation. And I would say, like, lots of conversation. Like, sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
But I would also say, trust your gut. Like, first of all, this is a very incestuous industry.
It is.
Like, people know everybody. They've all worked together. They've all got a story. And if ever you're feeling like something doesn't sit right, they're not the only game in town. Go find the one that feels right, because, like, there are good people. I've met amazing people, some of the best people, salt of the earth, great, amazing people in this industry. But I've also met some of the people that I'm terrified of, that, like, they would step over your dying, bleeding corpse to, like, get ahead. Like, I've met both ends of the spectrum, and that's not just true for insurance. That's everywhere. But I just feel like, there seem to be a lot more seedy. There's just quite a few more, like, seedier individuals in insurance, because it can be so lucrative and it attracts a certain type of person, and you don't need a degree to do it. And, like, so, like, just, I think for so many reasons, but I just always trust your gut, and know that if you are doing the right thing, it's going to work out. So have lots of conversation, and then trust your gut on the people that you meet.
Yeah, for sure. I would say, like, the agents or leaders that we're looking for are, like, really want to be part of something like different. Like, we're really trying to watch our content, like, really change the U65 game and go build something really different and, like, help people and, like, take care of them. And so we want people a part of that mission. And so we don't hire everybody we talk to, you know, like, it's like we got to find the right fit, because it's probably the hardest thing to do is to bring up someone virtually and teach them all of these different skill sets. Like, we need hungry people. So.
I had someone ask me on a recruiting meeting recently, like who are you looking? I don't really remember how it was phrased, but it was like, you know, you have a team. It's a fair sized team, but it's not like the biggest team that I've ever seen. And tell me about that. And I was like, you know what? Honestly, I'm at a point in my life where I don't want to like work with a million people. I want to work with a handful of people who have the same goal and heart, and they have the same work ethic. And that's pretty cool that we get to make those decisions for ourselves because of what we are building, that we don't take everyone. And I definitely felt at times with my previous organization that if you could fog a mirror and get a license, they were going to hire you. And that wasn't the right thing to do, because like it wasn't the right thing for the agent, because a lot of them, you could tell they would put someone in front of me, like, or on my team, and I'd be like, this person's never going to make it. Like, I can tell in the first 10 minutes of spending time with them that they don't have what it takes. Like, it's not going to work. So like, you're wasting their time, you're giving them false hope, and you're also wasting my time, because I also run my own business and have to lead people. So like, you're taking time away from me to do that. So like, it just was so counterproductive to do it that way. And they just were very set in their ways of, and they were incentivized on building. Like, they would get building points. So like, they would try to recruit as many people as they could because they were incentivized for that. And it's just not the right way to do it, I think. And it's also exhausting. Who has that much energy or time? Like, because honestly, the people that shouldn't be here that you bring on are the ones that are your HR nightmare. Like, they take up all your time. Right. They take up all your resources. They totally sap your energy. Like, it's just not, it's so counterproductive.
Wow, crazy. Well, guys, put down in the comments down below, did this give you guys any value? If you're a top producer where you're at now, do you guys like the culture you're part of? Do they have good systems, good tech, or it's like, hey, you know, maybe something else out there. And then if you guys need anything, like if you guys want to talk, we do a lot of hiring calls. Feel free to shoot us a DM, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So, well, guys, it was a crazy pod today. Went super deep on the recruiting and the agent and the top producer game. But we'll see you guys on the next one.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. I'm Lori.
I'm Dakota.
Bye.
Bye.